Wow, this is some fine welcome we get to my first ever visit to one of the best bass lakes in the entire United States. This is Lake Guntersville. I've never been here before. So we roll in here, and right behind us rolls in one of the hardest cold fronts of the entire winter. In fact, right here at Scottsboro, Alabama, on the shores of Guntersville, they're supposed to break their all-time record low temperature for the date tonight. But we're gonna troop out there anyway and do our best to show you a little bass fishing. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Sports South.
The fame and notoriety of the lake you see just over my right shoulder is every bit up on par with the great ones like Lake Fork in Texas and El Salto in Mexico and Okeechobee down in Florida. This is famous Lake Guntersville, Alabama. It's been just over a year ago that Randy Howell came charging back from 11th place to win the Bassmasters Classic in 2014 on these very waters with a gigantic sack of bass. There are big ones and there are lots of bass in this lake. We're gonna go out today and do a little exploring around on my first ever visit to beautiful Lake Guntersville, and under some of the most challenging conditions you can possibly imagine, and I'll explain that as we go along. And while we're out fishing on Guntersville for some bass today, we're taking you around your local region for some fishing reports from our team of insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays right in your backyard. Hey, you're in for a lot of fun in the coming half hour, but right now we get it all started at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are predicting the top game fish activity over the weekend to take place on Saturday. Peak times should begin in the morning at 4:47 and in the afternoon at 5:15. Expect the sun to rise at 7:03 and set at 7:54. And night skies will feature a moon that is 65% illuminated. We're coming right back with all the current freshwater and coastal fishing information from around the area. Plus, Bassmaster angler Ott Defoe joins us for this week's Ask the Pro feature.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
I don't think he's much of a fish. Nope. Got a big weed around him. And there's my first, well actually it's my second Guntersville bass. I'll show you the crazy first one. That's just a little buck bass up here getting ready to spawn in some, I think they call it primrose, some little dollar-shaped plants back up in here. Let me give you a little information about Guntersville. Again, it's my first time here, so I'm having to learn about this place. It's a giant lake, 67,000 acres, 76 miles long, that runs in the far northern part of Alabama, east of Huntsville, set in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Water here is a kind of a stained off color. It's not what I would call clear, and it's certainly not muddy or murky. Runs all back up in a bunch of little fingers off the Tennessee River. Now the Tennessee River chain is just unbelievable. It's got great lakes like Kentucky Lake and Pickwick, but this one, you've got the main Tennessee River channel running through the middle of it, and as soon as you get out of the channel, you're in shallow water, and by shallow I mean 6 to 10 feet deep. That's most of the lake. So it's not like some of the other Tennessee River lakes that's got a lot of real sharp, big, deep ledges on it. This thing's pretty shallow, flat lake, and because of that, it's loaded with grass beds. All kinds of grass, primarily hydrilla. So I'm going to talk to you about the grass, the vegetation, and how you fish it, and this is why you come here. But right now, let's get you started with some fishing and lake reports from your area.
Foul weather gear is not a one-size-fits-all type of deal. When you live in the South, here in Tennessee like I do, it's not always sub-zero temperatures, it's not always freezing rain, it's not always ice and snow. The all-new Fusion series from Stormer is the answer to all my problems. Lightweight, breathable, very movable and mobile, and the most technologically advanced features of any outerwear on the planet. Hey guys, welcome to this week's Tennessee and Kentucky Fishing Report. It's really good here right now, the weather and the fishing. I'm gonna do my best to get you through the hottest bites in this region. We're gonna start at Reelfoot Lake in northwestern Tennessee. Really unique place, but the crappie bite is on fire. If you get a chance and you're looking for a crappie destination, Reelfoot Lake's the place to be. Let's look at another West Tennessee lake that's a little bit off the grid, but equally as good, and that's Gibson County Lake. It's a state-managed lake full of big Florida strain largemouth, and there's a ton of crappie there, and right now it is on fire. Kentucky Lake. The bass are biting. They're shallow, lipless crankbaits, square bill crankbaits, and spinner baits. The fish are pre-spawn, but they're really eating right now, getting ready to spawn, so look for transition areas. The crappie have just really started biting in the last few days too. They're in shallow cover, stake beds, brush piles, on gravel or chunk rock banks. Let's jump over to Dale Hollow. Speaking of crappie, we usually talk smallmouth here. The crappie bite is on fire on Dale Hollow right now. Hair jigs are what I'm hearing, and they're typical, just like I talked about Kentucky Lake. They're in those little transition areas where they're moving up from deep to shallow. The bass bite's good too. Bluff ends and channel swing banks in route to spawning areas. Lake Cumberland in Kentucky, one more time, I can't give a report without talking about how good Lake Cumberland is. So guys, if you're wanting to come to Tennessee and Kentucky right now, is a wonderful time. We'd love to see you here. God bless.
There's one. Can you jump at all? Got him right in the corner of the mouth. Oh, there's a fatty right there. There's a little Guntersville chunk right there. That one hit a lipless rattling crankbait right there. Well, we're back out on what's turned into be a really windy, kind of a cold front day here on Guntersville. But we got a little action going right there. Back that one goes. This lake is famous for its grass bed fishing. As I mentioned, the Tennessee River channel's deep, but it comes up on those flats on the edges. It stays shallow. That water stays warm a long time during the year, and it lets all that aquatic vegetation grow up. Here's the deal though. Early in the season, actually during the winter time, all those grass beds die out. The water gets too cold and they just don't grow very well. The warmer it gets, the longer it goes into the summer, those grass beds blossom and grow all the way almost to the surface, or to the surface in a lot of areas. We're here early in the springtime. Water's just warming up. The fish are coming up and pre-spawn. What I'm doing right now, and what you have to do early in the spring, is search for this grass. It grows in little patches. When you find a little patch, you're gonna find bass. A lipless rattling crankbait is just a great way to do it. I've got two sizes tied on today. That's a little small size right there. And all I'm doing is making big long casts, letting it go down a little bit with my rod tip down to the water, and I'm feeling for that grass. When you feel it, you kind of lift that rod tip up a little bit, kind of pop it through that grass, and a lot of times that's where you're gonna get a bite. Time now for more fishing reports.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the state of Mississippi, where fishing fun is year-round and where the Mississippi Gulf Coast offers some of the best inshore angling and offshore adventures anywhere in the world. So start your fishing trip in a true south, Mississippi. Well, coastal fishing is really beginning to heat up throughout the southeast. In Mississippi, the action is on fire, both offshore and inshore. Blackfin tuna to 15 pounds being caught at night around the oil rigs. Anglers are using butterfly jigs to jig them up. It's deep water and kind of a snappy retrieve. It's really great fun fishing. And some of these blackfins are going 10 to 15 pounds. That's a big blackfin on reasonably light offshore tackle. Some anglers are getting up to 25 fish a night. There are some wahoo still around. The anglers trolling are catching those fish. And there's some 20 to 50 pound cobia that are beginning to show up around the oil rigs and the deep island bars and channel markers. Chumming is the way to get those fish. Inshore in Mississippi, trout to 2 or 3 pounds are being caught along the outside beaches and also over in the Chandelier Islands. Some prime spots have been Long Beach Harbor and Gulfport Harbor. There's redfish in the bays, also in the harbors. These are slot fish up to big bulls. And white trout and ground mullet also being caught on dead shrimp on the bottom around the reefs. In Alabama, there's fishing is turned on also. There's great trout fishing in the lower bay areas and also around some of the oil rigs. Just offshore in Alabama, the oil rigs are producing some trout, and there's also some cobia showing up. That fishing should get better through the month. In Georgia, around St. Simon's Island in the southeast part of the state, trout, reds, and some flounder are being caught in the deeper creeks on jigs. Sheepshead fishing has been very good also in southeast Georgia. Some of these fish are going 5 to 6 pounds using fiddler crabs near docks. Well, that's it for the southeast. Get out on the water, the fishing's great, and take a youngster with you when you go.
Welcome to the Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi Freshwater Fishing Report. This week's coverage is brought to you by Liberty County and scenic coastal Georgia, a perfect spot for hunting, fishing, and outdoor adventure. Escape the ordinary and visit Liberty County, the right blend. www.libertycounty.org. We're now well into April, and it's time to head over to Alabama's Logan Martin Lake just east of Birmingham for some hybrid bass action. These fish are making the run up the Coosa River above the lake right now. The lake gets about 75,000 of these fish stocked annually, and most of the ones making the run are 15 to 20 inches and quite aggressive. The best place to find them is where they're stacked up at the foot of Neely Henry Dam in the very headwaters of the lake, and the best time to be there is when water's coming through the powerhouse at the dam. This really turns on the bite. Tossing the white curly-tailed grub on a 1-ounce jig is a good pattern to use, and you can fish from the shore or a boat here. If no water is coming through the dam, the fish get dormant. When that happens, move downstream to the mouth of Ohatchee Creek on the eastern shore. The cool, spring-fed water here usually holds hybrids as well. In central Mississippi, the Big Black River is experiencing its annual flood season right now. This puts the water back into the forest along the shore, and the flathead catfish move in to forage in that flooded timber. Anglers using live minnows for bait are taking advantage of these conditions to tangle with some big flatheads from north of Jackson downstream to the mouth of the river on the Mississippi. In southwest Georgia, the shell crackers are spawning in the vegetation fields on 37,500 acre Lake Seminole. Look for sandy bottoms here, which will usually have lily pads on them. Just toss your baited hook up along the edge of those lily pads to get plenty of bites.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Luz, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
There's one. Oh, it's not a big one. He's not even fighting. I'm going to ski him in. All right, well, we got some fish working anyway. Let's talk a little bit about gear. If you're planning a trip to Guntersville, if you've never been here like me, this is my first trip. These fish are the first Guntersville bass I've ever caught. Catching buck bass today, early in the springtime. They're moving up shallow first and fishing shallow water. But you're gonna need several things if you're coming here. One thing you're gonna need is a net, because there are some giant bass in here. Second thing you're gonna need is a great crankbait rod. This is the brand new Luz David Fritz Perfect Crankbait Speed Stick. It is the best crankbait rod I've ever thrown. It feels great. It's got the perfect action, perfect handle, perfect size, perfect length. 7.5 foot is the length you want. Look for that at your tackle store or on the Luz website. You need a reel that will cast a long way. I'm using the Luz Speed Spool BB1 Pro Series reel. It's got the magnetic cast control here on the outside of the reel. That's the improvement of the BB1 Pros over the original BB1 series. They've got a narrow spool and a wide spool, so you can do either one, a BB2 or a BB1. But they are the absolute longest casting bait cast reel I've ever thrown as well. Big, long cast with these crankbaits, cover a lot of water real quick. The line, one of two things, either Stren Original, we'll show you what the package looks like here, or Stren Fluorocast. You want to go with a Fluorocast in the clear water. You get in a little more stained, a little murky water, a little thicker grass, you can go with that Stren Original. Clear blue fluorescent is the color I like, so you can see your strikes real well. Time for more fishing reports.
Hey guys, it's time for your Carolinas report, this week brought to you by Marshall's Marine. Located in Lake City and Georgetown, South Carolina, we're your bass boat leader since 1969. For all your family-friendly fun and for nitro and bass tracker needs, visit our friends at www.marshallsmarine.com. And I tell you, last week I talked a lot about freshwater. So many things going on in the freshwater in the Carolinas. You know, from the bass moving into the spawning mode, the crappie moving into the spawning mode, and the stripers starting to move into the spawning mode. But this week I want to talk about saltwater. Let's talk about a great group that I'm involved with, CCA. If you're a recreational fisherman, these guys are looking out for our resources and what we want to do on the water. You can get involved in your chapter in your area. Talking about getting out on the water, let's talk about the flounder bite right now. It is incredible. The fish are starting to move in. The water temperature is starting to warm up. The snodgrass is finally starting to leave. You can get out there and troll, do some anchor up, cast. I always talk about that jig head, half-ounce or quarter-ounce jig with a big mud minnow or a mullet this time of the year can bring some great flatfish to the boat. Also, the redfish are getting out of that winter pattern. They're starting to break up as the water temperatures increase. Start looking for them on those oyster beds. Start looking for them on those normal haults where they're going to be moving during those tide swings, trying to find something to eat. Also, our good friends up in the Outer Banks, up in the shallow waters, they're finding schools of 20 to 250 fish and catching some humongous fish up there right now. Offshore fishery, look at the water temperature as it starts to increase. We're going to start getting those warmer eddies moving in. The dolphin will be in, the tuna will be in, and the wahoo. Everywhere from South Carolina up to North Carolina, the big boats are getting excited.
Oh, I got one on. Decent fish right here. Look at that. There's a decent Guntersville bass for you right there. Caught him on a biffle bug. How about that? There's some of that eel grass right there. It's real ribbony, thin, stringy kind of grass. You can actually fish in it, and the fish do live in it. Mike Gary, my guide buddy, kind of tipped me off to this little spot right here, and you would never know it by the look of it. It's just an ugly, smooth bank up and down here. But there's a bunch of little ridges that run up and down, and each one of them's got a little bit of that eel grass on it. If you want to plan a trip here, then Mike Gary's your guy. He's been guiding on this lake for 35 years, runs a very professional guide service, has several guys guiding for him, so you can bring a big group or a small group, anything in between. He's had some really unbelievable days. In fact, just a couple of days before we got here, he had 3 fish, his clients did, over 9 pounds in one day.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro feature, where viewers get insider tips from top anglers. This week's question is from Ramon, who asks, where do bass go after the spawn? For the answer, we checked with Bassmaster Elite Angler Ott Defoe.
They really have 2 options. Some fish stay shallow, and they're going to stay up there around any kind of bait fish. A lot of times, as soon as the bass are done spawning, shad, herring, bluegill, a lot of other things start to spawn. So the fish that stay shallow, that's where they're going to be. On other lakes, other systems, as soon as those fish get done, their next stop is on a ledge, on a point, somewhere on a deep structure. And a lot of times, as soon as they get done spawning, will actually be the deepest they get the whole year. The lakes where I live in East Tennessee are pretty famous for that. We will catch bass, 30 to 50 feet deep the week after they finish spawning. So it really depends on the system you're fishing, and fish always split up. Some stay shallow, some go deep.
Thanks, Ott. If you need help from one of the pros, visit foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
This was a brutal, brutal day to be out there fishing. Again, we were very blessed to be able to catch the few fish that we did show you. We caught them on several different baits. We'll show those to you in just a moment. First up though, somebody wins a free pair of Costa sunglasses, the Costa Catch of the Week contest. He is Tyler Bunton of Cumming, Georgia, showing off a 26-pound red snapper he caught in the Gulf of Mexico, and this bad boy was 35 inches long. If you'd like a chance to win your very own pair of Costas, all you have to do is go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, send us your photo, and you could be our next winner. You can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles. Again, go back to the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Costa logo, and you can see all the great Costa products there, including the new frame style that I was wearing on this week's episode called Cortez. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, I've got to say something about the Exide AGM batteries I just installed in my Nitro Z8 boat. I could not do what I do as long and hard as we go at it out there on the lake without these batteries. These are brand new technology. What you have to remember is 3 letters, AGM. Now don't worry about what that stands for, but when you go to your retailer and look for batteries, ask for the Exide AGM batteries. They're available at Academy Sports and Outdoors, and here's the deal. They will run longer than any other battery on the market. They'll charge up quicker. They have a longer lifespan. You can mount them on their side or upright, either way, because they won't spill. They're maintenance free, they're vibration resistant, everything you could possibly want in the best battery ever developed. It's the Exide AGM battery. I am so impressed with them out in that 30-mile-an-hour wind all day long today, and they held up, and I've still got plenty of power to spare. Now, we already showed you the rods, reels, line that you need if you're coming to Guntersville, but here are some baits that will work pretty much year-round on this lake. Beginning on the left side of your frame, those are lipless rattling crankbaits, 2 different sizes, both those colors will work. In the middle of your frame is the Jean LaRue Biffle Bug, rigged, Texas rigged, and you need to stick a toothpick in that weight and peg it down against the bait so it'll go down through this grass. The right-hand side of your frame, there is a jerkbait, that's a suspending jerkbait, and under that is the Jean LaRue Salt Flicker. It's a soft plastic jerkbait fished around the edges of these grass beds. Hey, I invented a saying. It goes like this: life is messy, nobody gets out clean. Now here's what I mean by that. If you're trying to live your life fully under control, everything going right, everything going just the way you want it to, you are setting yourself up for some big disappointments because you have misplaced expectations. This is an imperfect world we live in, and nobody does everything right. In fact, there was only one man that ever did that, and he lived a couple of thousand years ago. So, the lesson you and I can learn, and the best we can do, is this. You get up every day, you do the very best you can. You try to learn from the mistakes you made yesterday and try very hard not to make those same mistakes again. Each day is brand new. Each day you and I get a do-over, and that's the great news, and that's the best you and I can expect. Hey, don't forget to join us for next week's episode. We'll be on Thursday in our normal time slot of 6 p.m. with the repeat airing Sunday morning at 8:30. And you can always get the latest episode of our show and watch it right on the front page of our website. And very important, right below that, you can click on past episodes and more video here, and you can see all of the episodes that you missed and lots of product and how-to videos as well. From Lake Guntersville, Alabama, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.